Welcome back. We're in Module 5 now. We're going to be talking about observations. And when we observe children to collect data, what should we be observing for? And why do we observe? So let's first talk about one-on-one observations. When we are in a testing situation and we're testing a child sitting across the table from us, it's very easy to collect data one-on-one with that child. But keep in mind, that's not a typical environment for that child. The typical environment is within the classroom, within the home, and within the community. So how do we go about collecting data outside of the testing room? Let's first take a look at the prefrontal cortex. That's the area right behind your forehead. And it's the last area where the brain develops. The area behind our forehead manages our day. It's our organizer. It's our conscious of what is right and what's wrong. It controls our behavior. So we have to keep in mind the child's age, areas of concern for disability, or areas of disability are already identified. That prefrontal cortex does not fully develop until the age of 25. And for individuals with special needs, many times that prefrontal cortex doesn't develop for years later. In the prefrontal cortex, we have our thinking skills, our planning. How do we plan our day? What steps do we need to take? Organizing. How do we organize in the world around us? Our bedroom, our desk, our backpack. Time management. Allotting enough time to get our tasks done. Our working memory, taking information from our past and applying it to future tasks. If we know that we have a tendency to put things off to the last minute and we don't set enough time aside, our working memory tells us we need to do something different next time. And our metacognition, our self-monitoring and evaluating, awareness of our skills and our thought process. The prefrontal cortex also manages our behaviors, our response inhibition, the resisting the urge to act before evaluating the big picture, self-regulation or affect, managing emotions in order to complete a task, task initiation, simply getting started on our homework, flexibility, the ability to make changes in the face of obstacles, and goal-directed persistence, the follow-through to finish a task. Samples of skills and behaviors that we need to note when we're doing observations. Does the child have a poor sense of time? Limited ability to use self-talk? Limited self-awareness? Difficulty on picking up on social cues? Inconsistent work and behavior? Hyper-focused or under-focused? Inflexible? Gets frustrated or angry often and easily? A sense of failure to achieve goals. These are areas that we need to look for when we do observations. Another area we need to look for are the ABCs of behavior. When we break down behavior, we see that there is an antecedent, something that happens before the behavior, then the behavior itself, and the consequence thereafter. Now remember, behaviors are negative and positive. So for a positive behavior, if I study hard, I go to school, I feel good, I behave well, and my consequence could be a paycheck when I get a job. It could be the opportunity to go on to the university. For negative behaviors, that antecedent might be someone being aggressive towards a child, a subject area that the child doesn't like and they're trying to get out of class, the need to not go home because of a traumatic home environment, and therefore the child acts up so that they can get out of class, so that they can run off campus. And the consequence then typically is a negative punishment. So when we're observing, look for those antecedents. See if they're consistently occurring within the same setting. And remember that all behaviors have a purpose. A positive reinforcement, a social attention seeking, tangible seeking, self-stimulation, the need to escape or avoid, or escape an physically painful situation. And note the physical space when you're doing observations. Is the space cluttered, organized, quiet? Is it overstimulating? And also observe the interactions between the child and adults, peers, and tangibles within the classroom or on the playground. Behavior is always controlled by its consequences. It's strengthened or maintained by its reinforcements, whether those be negative or positive reinforcements. And behavior is weakened by withholding the consequences that have maintained it. Observational data allows you to figure out when behaviors occur, describe the behavior in detail, evaluate the instructional program under which the behavior occurs, and it makes a data-driven decision resulting in the likelihood of positive outcomes. As you begin to do observations, you may also start to learn things about other adults around you and even yourself. So this teacher's revelation, poem or saying, to me at least speaks volumes in how we treat children in the classroom. So a teacher's revelation. I've come to the frightening conclusion that I am the decisive element in the classroom. It's my personal approach that creates the climate. It's my daily mood that makes the weather. As a teacher, I possess a tremendous power to make a child's life miserable or joyous. I can be a tool of torture or an instrument of inspiration. I can humiliate or humor, hurt or heal. In all situations, it is my response that decides whether a crisis will be escalated or de-escalated, and a child humanized or dehumanized. As you move into the lessons and the readings in Module 5, please first read Step 9 in our textbook. Read students' behavior during the assessment process. Student behavior during the evaluation checklist. And then submit your assignment on observational reports. Let me know if you have any questions. Enjoy.